What is up, gentlemen? Welcome back to another episode on the channel. On today's episode, I wanted to share 3 of my favorite core Stoic principles that I personally use on a day-to-day basis to live a better life, to run a thriving business, to maintain positive and healthy relationships with those around me, and ultimately to move in the world in a way that I want to. Why should you watch this episode? Who is this episode for? I find that a lot of men really are having a bad time at it. They're having a bad time at it because the pressures on us as men are so tremendously difficult, right? There's a lot of expectations that we are faced with if we want to approach the world in the way that we are meant to approach it. What most people do is they use these obstacles as a reason to not do something. And the further they find themselves from their path, really the more depressed, the more unhappy that I find most people are with their lives. They find themselves aimlessly moving through life and sort of allowing life to happen to them, as opposed to them taking life by the reins and making of it what they need to make. So why Stoicism? In general, as men, we should be competent and supremely able to control our emotions. It's never a good thing when you allow the events of the day to elicit an emotion in you that takes you off track. Look at your train, right? The carriage that you're in. You need to have a straight path. And the second that you allow an external emotion or an external event to affect that carriage, right, or to deviate you from your path, you ultimately end up wasting time, energy, and just a tremendous amount of willpower there. Being able to maintain your emotions and to control your emotions is the cornerstone of living a successful and happy life overall. Doesn't mean don't feel emotions. It means when they come up, know that they're coming up and be able to control them as such. So what are these 3 core principles? Because there's a ton. Anyone who has any sort of experience in the Stoic space will understand that there's a ton, but the 3 key ones that I want to say are, number 1 is that really you do not control external events. What you control is your reaction to these events. What does this mean? On a day-to-day basis, you will be tasked and faced with many different challenges. The way that you approach these challenges and your expectations towards these challenges is going to have a large impact down the line in terms of your overall mental well-being. So the things that you can control, the events that you can actually impact and change the outcome of, you should give 110%. You should give everything that you have, because those are the parts that really your emotional, your mental willpower are going to be put to the test in the right way. On the flip side, what I find is most people, they really give a lot of time and attention to things that they really should not, because they have zero control over external factors, external influences, different people. Having expectations for other people, having expectations for outcomes that are truly not within your control is you setting yourself up for anxiety as you begin to look into the future and to anticipate a failure that may never come or a success that may never come. At the same time, you're looking to other people, to other things, to other entities for a reaction that you really can't control. All of this, whether it's a positive or a negative, ends up priming you to look outwardly for the things that you should be looking inwardly for. So number 1 is, if you cannot control it, give it zero attention. Allow things to be as they are. The things that you can control, you give 110% to. 2 is going to be that you should always strive for progression, not perfection. This may seem counterintuitive, especially coming from someone that is trying to preach to how you can live a more successful and productive life, but ultimately perfection is truly an illusion. What I find that most people do with perfection is that they put this idea, right, this pristine example of perfection up on a pedestal. They tell themselves that in order for me to actually pursue the things that are meaningful to me, the time has to be perfect, everything has to be aligned. In order for me to connect with this person, or in order for me to actually go ahead and do the things that I must do, everything must be perfect. They use the perfection as the boogeyman, right? The boogeyman that they can never achieve, that they can never tackle, that they never overcome. But on the flip side, what you must always look at is progression, because when you set your sights for progression, you understand that you may never reach that promised land, that place, that conclusion that you've put in your mind that is the end goal, because there is no end goal. At the end of the day, you will die. And that perfection that you have in your mind, you will never achieve that perfection, nor will you ever get to that perfection. So instead of striving for something that is unattainable, what you strive for is the understanding that every day I should get a little bit better. I need to get a little bit better in every single thing that I do. I put myself in your shoes and I tell myself, okay, today, what can I do that is a little bit better than before? Maybe I can be a bit more present when I speak to someone, or maybe I can look at my phone less, or maybe I can actually execute my work a little bit better, or maybe I can communicate that much more effectively, or maybe I can create that much more stringently. I set very small goals that allow me to achieve these micro progressions. So in the grand scheme of things, yeah, I may be progressing 0.5% every single day, but those wins that progression stacks up over time. The last principle that I am honestly in love with is the idea that you should always love your fate. So love one's fate. What does it mean to love your fate? We mentioned in point 1 that there are many things that are going to happen to you in life that you really have zero control over, whether it's a family tragedy, whether it's the failure of a business, whether it's the destruction of a relationship. All of these things are going to happen to you. The way that you react to them that's what's going to be in your control, but at the same time, what you learn from them, how you reflect back on these things is also well within your control. The person that you are today is the result of thousands and thousands of interactions, of micro successes, micro failures that have happened to you over the years. Whether you like the person that you are or not, this is the person that you are. You must accept yourself as such and understand that you are the result of everything that has happened to you. Choosing to look back at the past in a negative way creates anxiety, creates that depressive state, right? It creates an understanding that the past has happened to me and I'm a victim of the past. And choosing to look into the future in a negative way is the same thing. So what should you do instead? You must look at both the positive and the negative as a necessary stepping stone in the grand scheme of your life. Look at it this way. If you know that you are destined to become everything that you wish to be, but horrible things have happened to you now, would you not agree that if you could magically teleport to the future 80 years from now, 70 years from now, you're happy, you're old, you've achieved everything you want, that all the horrible things that have happened have actually given you the necessary tools, the insights, the life lessons that are necessary to become the person that you ultimately will become? So if you still believe that you can achieve that person, that idea, that business, that whatever life that you wish to have in the future, then everything that you've passed through is a necessary stepping stone towards that person that you inevitably will become. This is what it means to love your fate. Guys, believe me when I say that having full emotional self-control is really the cornerstone of living a balanced and a very stable life. At the end of the day, too many ups, too many downs. Sure, the ups may feel great, but the downs may feel even worse. So instead of striving for apexes and valleys in terms of your day-to-day, try to aim for stability. You aim for stability by looking within and understanding that the external world should never be able to affect you. Let me know which of these 3 core principles you guys agree with the most, and anyone who's into Stoicism, let me know which principles that I may not have mentioned that you guys personally adhere to and why you think I'd benefit from it as well. Guys, if you enjoyed this episode, please consider smashing a massive thumbs up. It really does help me out. And I make these episodes as a labor of love, and hopefully you guys are enjoying them. Till next time, see you soon.